Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul Mackay and today I'm going to be talking to you all about Ferrania P30. This is an Italian film, Italian manufactured. It has been brought back from the dead, and the first interesting fact is that it's called P30 but it's ISO 80. So stick around if you want to hear a little bit more about the story of Ferrania and how to get the best out of this film. Whether you are new to film photography or a long-time analog enthusiast, our channel covers all things film, from tips and tricks, film reviews to how-to videos. Subscribe now and keep those notifications turned on so that you never miss a beat. Happy shooting! So Ferrania P30. Now I remember doing an unboxing video with this film 3 years ago, so that'll be in 2020 when the first box arrived, and I was super excited about it because I heard about Ferrania P30 way before I started Analogue Wonderland in a book called Revenge of Analogue. And this was about how a lot of analog technologies are coming back, or were coming back. I think it was about 10 years ago it was written. You know, board games, hardback books, vinyl, and of course film. And the author at the time went to visit the Italian factory, met the people who were behind Ferrania, and talked about their project to bring it back. So I talk about bringing it back. Ferrania is a very famous 100-year-old film brand. They were based in Italy, and similar to Kodak in Rochester, the film industry in that part of Italy, the whole town, the whole community was centered around the production of film. And they produced a load of film, black and white and color and movie film, that formed the basis of lots of Italian cinema in the mid-20th century. But they also ended up doing a lot of own label film for companies all around the world as well. So you'll often see some expired films these days, but at the time some own brand films were often written, made in Italy, and you knew that it was Ferrania that was at the base of it. So think of a huge factory complex fallen into sad disrepair, disuse, and a few crazy folk who decided to come and bring it all back. Now when you have a massive factory like that, it's very difficult to jump back to the scale of when film was the million rolls a day that it used to be. But what they did was quite clever. They focused in on the part of the facility that was all about running tests on small batches. So when you think back to a big facility, that million rolls a day, when you're building something on that scale and then you want to test a new emulsion or you tweak something or do quality control, you need to take it into a smaller production facility to run much smaller production runs. Which today is absolutely perfect for the main production run, doing it on a sort of a smaller craft industry. But the videos on their site are incredible because you can see them pick through these old machines, this old computer, using the loose sense of the word, technology that used to run the entire thing. A lot of it is now fallen into disrepair, it's been sold and moved on, but there's enough to still make things. So there we go. So this is much anticipated. It is an original film. It's not a repackaged film from something else that is made elsewhere in the world. They went back to basics and created it from scratch. Now it does have some fairly unique, maybe not unique, but it has some pretty important differences versus larger produced, more common black and white films. It is ISO 80, as I mentioned earlier. It is panchromatic, so don't get this confused with Ortho 80, Ilford's 80 speed film. It's panchromatic. However, it has a very narrow latitude, exposure latitude versus typical black and white films. You'd have got used to me saying that a lot of black and white films you can push or pull or shoot outside quite easily. Ferrania is pretty sensitive, maybe a bit more like colour slide film. So if you go too exposed in particular or underexposed, you'll lose a lot of detail. You'll get very blocky, it'll be very dramatic. Now the good thing is, for those of you who love contrast, and I'm definitely a contrast junkie myself, when you shoot this well exposed, it will produce beautifully detailed and very contrasty photos. So when you look at the reviews of people who have shot it in the last 3 years, you will see them talk about it being dramatic, forbidding, very dark and contrasty, gritty, but not gritty in the sense of large grain. There is very fine grain, beautifully detailed. It has a very high silver content, which drives a lot of this, but it is very unforgiving if you miss the exposure. So just bear that in mind when you shoot. You will get brilliant photos back with tons of detail, tons of interest, tons of contrast, tons of character, but make sure that you nail that exposure as you go in. Now, of course, your camera might not have 80 as an ISO. Don't worry about shooting at 100. I'm not saying it needs to be that close to the exposure. I'm saying don't shoot it at 400, or don't point it at something that ranges across 8 different stops in light, because the film will struggle to see throughout all of it and deliver great results. You'll see as you cycle through the photos behind me that the images that people are getting are really quite striking. And it is wonderful to be shooting a piece of modern film history, should we say, something that created lots of art, movies and still photography in the past century, brought back to life, and is now producing brilliant stills photography today. A quick word on Ferrania's future. They definitely do not intend to stop with P30. They have many bigger plans, but at the moment, for the last 3 years, and of course COVID created a lot of problems, especially in that first year of the pandemic. For now, P30 is what they are able to give us, and we are very grateful that they do. So I hope you really enjoy shooting it. If you've tried it before, then please let everyone know in the comments below how you found it. Do you agree with my comments, or did you find it frankly a lot easier than I've been leading people to believe? And if you haven't shot it before, please also comment on what you think you'd like to shoot on it. How would you enjoy getting the contrast and making the most of that fantastic detail, replicating some of the looks of the sample photos that you've seen behind me. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, I will see you again soon.